Alright, I Love Clark here again. I'm back. That's a light that, look, we got this light, it comes through from the sun that pours down natural light, and then we got this one. It's kind of yellow, but on this it looks kind of white. Yeah, you can catch the orange right there. It's more orange. That's more true to the color of what it looks like all the time. Right about there. See that orange? Anyway, I'm not these guys trying to make fake lights so I can look whiter or whatever. I'm whitening up. Look, the reason why I got back on here was to talk more about that idea about taking away the guns and how the colonists fought against the British and how they had more advanced armies. How they had more equipment and more power, the king did, than the government, and how, but back in those days, they, like I said before, they had trained militias and everyone knew how to use a weapon, and mostly everyone had been serving in the militia and knew some kind of combat compared to the average every American today. So there was people that could teach other men, and people were active in the militia, and it was part of the whole community was involved in it. Most of the men and all the men in the community were involved in it. Okay, and every town, mostly every town had one. They knew the value in it. Okay, but what I didn't state in the other video was something that I thought about and I forgot to mention was the other reason why, same scenario, if it was us today, the United States people, okay, I'm not talking white people, I'm just talking all the United States people against the federal government. If it was one-on-one, they would crush us. But it's not only because we don't have enough people trained in militia people. It will never work out because back then, in the Revolutionary War, it was all mostly whites and English. Okay, so they got along better. Naturally they worked together for each other. Naturally they fought harder. Naturally it was easier for them to overcome the British. But you put us all together today, you'll have blacks fighting with whites in the militias. You'll have one guy saying something else. You'll have so much Babylon, it will not work. It won't work right. And that's another reason why today it will not work the same as it did back then. Because like today they have more better weapons than us. They are all trained army. We've been lazied down. None of us has real militias. The militias that we do have are very few. And they're underground, and they're not many of them, and they're all labeled terrorist groups. You know, they're not labeled friendly to anyone. So, even though they probably are, or maybe not. But the point is, if you want to do a comparative of today and back then yeah, it wouldn't work out as well either, because these people today are all different races and all different religions and all different beliefs. It's not just a bunch of English and Scottish or French and white people fighting the British, fighting their own people. This America is not the same as it was then. Now it's all different races. The people won't unite. It's a false illusion, okay? But be practical and think about that from the other video. I forgot to mention that, so think about that. The other races, we would never be able to coordinate properly because there's too much racial intensity. It's too much people race gets in the way. Race gets in the way. And when you mix races together, it makes problems where when you're mixing your own kind, it cuts out a lot less problems. So, yeah, it sounds racist, whatever, it's true. It might be racist, it's true. You put a bunch of white people in a room together, there might be some squabbles here and there, but everyone's going to be able to pretty much get along and maintain order. You start putting a bunch of different cultural people, ethnicities, races together and telling them to coordinate, you're gonna have a whole bunch more different squabbles and different problems and things that don't seem fit and click right. Eliminate a lot of that. So my point is from the other video I didn't mention was the fact that we wouldn't coordinate right because it's not all English people like it was then. It's all mixed races and it's Babylon. So when it just won't work. It just won't work the same way either. So, you know, like I said before, and if we exercise our Second Amendment towards a federal government that's out of line, when do we get to decide that they've been out of line? Because in my opinion, they've been out of line for it's overdue. But when is it within our legal limit for them to cross the line? When they start killing us all and putting us in FEMA camps? I don't understand that. So, if I have a Second Amendment right to exercise, and the main purpose is designated as in case there's a tyrannical government that needs to be overthrown, or, you know, that the government needs to be rechanged and started over, reset. If we exercise that right now, if we go out, and it's our right, it's our Second Amendment right, and we believe that these people running the government are crooks and are liars and thieves and are not qualified and should be disqualified from that, and we use our Second Amendment to go and attack them, to get rid of them, or to forcibly move them out, or to take control, and we go do that, we're labeled by the government on the news as terrorists, and we will be either shot or killed, or we'll be thrown in prison for the rest of our lives, or something like that, you know? So, isn't that so stupid in a way that we have the Second Amendment right? But if we were to go practice it, if we were going to go practice it or exercise our Second Amendment, which not only, I'm not talking about having the guns or being able to pull them out, but using them against the federal government or the government that gets out of line. Where's that line? They need to define where that line is so we can know when they've crossed it and we can legally use our Second Amendment. I'm not talking about having the damn guns. I'm talking about using them against the tyrannical government that's out of line. I'm not telling people go do this. I'm asking a question. Where's the line at? And by law, by definition, when have they crossed it? Have they crossed it? And how do I exercise my Second Amendment if I go to jail for exercising it? It's a catch-22 right now. If I go exercise my right to bear arms, and I go use my gun to fight a tyrannical government, and I go shoot somebody in a political arena or something, I'm going to be considered a terrorist and an assassin and an enemy of the state and an enemy of the United States and an evil person and a serial killer or whatever they want to label it, monsterize it as. So that's my question. If I want to fully exercise my Second Amendment right to bear arms up against and use them against the federal government that's out of line, that I believe is out of line, how can we define that line and draw that line and say, this is the line you crossed? Okay? I don't understand where legally that stands. So if we have the Second Amendment right to bear arms, when can we use that right? Because when we use it, it seems like when we use it, we go to jail and we're thrown in prison or we're murdered.